50 million years ago, a cosmic collision between two continents forged the planet's greatest scar, the Himalayas. From those cataclysmic tremors that tore earth and sky apart, a nation unlike any other was born, Nepal. They call this the land of the impossible, a place where humanity survives on the absolute precipice of death, where the last nomadic tribes remain hidden deep within the forests, and the Sherpa people turn defying mortality on Mount Everest into a daily livelihood. But Nepal does not merely challenge the physical limits of humanity. It defies everything we thought we knew about reality. Step into these ancient valleys and you enter another dimension, a realm where time runs 57 years ahead of the rest of the world, where a mortal girl is revered as a living goddess, and where death is escorted with absolute serenity along the banks of a sacred river. The curse of 50 million years. Imagine a world without the song of birds, without the green of leaves, devoid even of microscopic life. Only rock, ice, and wind. A world that stands as a defiant challenge to the very limits of humanity. "50 million years ago, a cosmic cataclysm unfolded as the Indian continental plate slammed into Asia with irreversible force. The Earth was torn apart, thrust upward into the heavens, forging the Himalayas, the kingdom of stone giants. At this divine frontier, Nepal was born. Eight of the world's 10 highest peaks call this place home. They form a monumental fortress blocking monsoon winds, giving rise to the great rivers that feed all of Asia, and isolating perilous cliffside villages from human civilization for centuries. Westerners call the highest peak Everest. Tibetans know it as Chomolungma, the Holy Mother of the universe. To the Nepalese, it is Sagarmatha, the forehead of the sky. Yet, whatever the name, that 8,848-meter summit is no mere geographical landmark. It is a living entity, a harsh, unyielding deity, forever demanding offerings of blood from those who dare violate the silence of the gods. At this altitude, the atmosphere is so thin that the Milky Way appears with brutal clarity, as if one could simply reach out and touch the stars. But what is the price of drawing so close to the cosmos? It is learning to survive as your body begins to destroy itself. Every breath here is borrowed from eternity. and the sacred mountain always knows how to settle that debt in full. To enter the realm of the giant, you must pass through the gateway of death, Lukla Airport. Perched precariously on a rocky ledge at an altitude of nearly 3,000 meters, it is widely forbiddenly known as the most dangerous airport on the planet. Seen from above, its runway resembles nothing more than a short ruler casually placed between a yawning abyss and a sheer cliff face. Here pilots have no concept of a go-around. There is no room for hesitation, not even a margin of error of 1/10 of a second. The moment the wheels touch down, the aircraft must charge up a steep incline to lose speed before crashing into the stone wall ahead. One slight veer of the controls and the plane will not hit the runway. It will vanish into the empty void below. Past the gates of Lukla, the trail leads to Everest Base Camp, a temporary tent city pitched at an altitude of 5,300 meters. This frozen outpost stands higher than most of the peaks on Earth, yet here in Nepal it is merely the starting line. Seen from afar, the vibrant tents resemble scattered prayer flags strewn across the grey ice. Humans arrive here carrying the most advanced technology, the most expensive oxygen tanks, and the wildest of ambitions. They spend weeks here doing one thing only, deceiving their own bodies. They force their blood cells to adapt to a state of severe oxygen deprivation, preparing for the physical onslaught at the higher altitudes ahead. Yet, the mountain merely watches them in silence, like a beast patiently waiting for its prey to step into the trap. The Khumbu Matrix and the Wall of Death. Just above base camp lies the first barrier and by far the most terrifying, the Khumbu Icefall. Imagine a colossal river of ice towering as high as a skyscraper, constantly shifting and collapsing hour by hour without a single warning sign. Blocks of ice as massive as entire houses can crack and shatter in the blink of an eye. Bottomless, gaping crevasses lie in wait, ready to swallow anyone who missteps. To cross them, climbers must crawl over rudimentary aluminum ladders lashed together. In that vast, empty void, a frail safety rope is the only thing connecting them to life. Beneath their feet is a frozen hell. Above their heads hang suspended walls of snow. Every single step through the Khumbu is an open gamble with fate. Past the Khumbu, the next challenge emerges like a nightmare forged in frost, the Lhotse face. A monolith of blue ice, sheer and frictionless. Here, the incline is so severe that if you slip and fail to clip into the fixed lines, your body will free fall 4,000 feet to the valley floor below. By now, the air has lost half of its oxygen. Every step forward demands 10 ragged, gasping breaths. The human mind begins to cloud over with frost. Hallucinations set in. You begin to hear whispers in the swirling snow, to see phantom figures calling out your name. This is the moment the mountain begins to erode your sanity. Many surrender, turning back in tears, but for those who push onward, they are about to cross a threshold the human world calls the death zone. Crossing the threshold of 8,000 meters. Welcome to the death zone. At this frontier, human life can no longer be sustained. It is merely being consumed at a breakneck pace. With every passing minute, your body is slowly dying. And it is in this very crucible of survival that a grim reality emerges, bearing a bitterly ironic name: the Rainbow Valley. The vibrant colors glimpsed beneath the heavy snow are not silk ribbons, but the gear of fallen climbers. Due to the astronomical cost and extreme danger of body recovery, Everest has transformed into the world's highest open-air cemetery. The departed remain there, perfectly preserved under the -40-degree cold, turning into soulless milestones for those who follow. They lie there watching the survivors. Pass them by, a chilling warning that the mountain cares nothing for your fame or the fortune you spent to get here. Before Everest, all humans are equal in their sheer insignificance. And then, past the breathtaking precipice of the Hillary Step, the earth abruptly stops. There is nowhere left to climb. You are standing at an altitude of 848 meters. Beneath your feet, the curvature of the earth reveals itself with miraculous clarity. The sky above is no longer the familiar blue. It deepens into a dark, profound indigo. The final frontier before touching the void of outer space. Most can only endure this summit for 10 to 15 minutes. There are no thunderous cheers of victory, only the howling wind and absolute silence within the mind. All human glory dissolves before the sheer grandeur of nature. You do not conquer Everest. The mountain merely allows you for a few fleeting moments to stand upon its shoulders before coldly commanding you to descend if you wish to keep your life. The conquest of Everest is not a war between humanity and nature. It is a war between man and his own self. Those who remain in the Rainbow Valley and those fortunate enough to return to their families all have heard the mystical calling from that great height, a cryptic echo from the land of the impossible, reminding humanity that Valley of the Living Gods. Behind the blinding glory of those who conquer Everest, and beyond the high-priced expedition journals of the Western world, lies a silent, hidden realm, the world of the Sherpa. They do not view the Himalayas as an arena to be conquered. They call these towering peaks home. Through thousands of years of survival at altitudes where even birds hesitate to fly, the bodies of the Sherpa people have undergone a miraculous evolution. Their blood carries more oxygen, their lungs expand wider, and their hearts beat to a rhythm entirely distinct from the rest of humanity. Yet this adaptation is not merely biological, it is rooted in faith. From the time they are toddlers, the Sherpa learn to read the language of the wind, to understand the shifting of the ice, and to predict the wrath of the mountain gods by the shape of the clouds. Before every expedition, they burn incense to honor the deity Chomolungma, asking for passage through her sacred realm. They are the ones who go first, to clear the path carrying heavy loads that weigh twice their own body mass. Fixing every meter of rope onto dead cliff faces. When an expedition succeeds, the names of foreigners are carved onto boards of gold. But when disaster strikes, it is the shadow of a Sherpa that is the first to plunge into danger to save the lives of strangers. They live quietly in the shadow of these colossal mountains, viewing the crossing of the line between life and death as merely a silent livelihood to buy a future for their children. the yak herds and isolated villages, a dance of resilience. Without this creature, human survival at Nepal's unimaginable altitudes would completely collapse. The yak, the shaggy giants of the frozen highlands. Weighing up to half a ton, yet possessing broad hooves and a genius capability for balance, they move across slippery ice slopes like phantoms that know the terrain by heart. They haul solar panels, sacks of rice and oxygen tanks, trudging silently against the howling wind. The clanging of bells, tied around the yaks' necks, echoes through the desolate valley, becoming the only sound confirming that life still endures in a place seemingly reserved only for death. Following the sound of those bells, isolated villages emerge, clinging to the mountainsides like precarious bird nests. At an altitude of nearly 4,000 meters, the village of Dingboche appears, its stone walls enclosing barren barley fields. Slightly lower lies Namche Bazaar, a colossal stone amphitheater cascading down the cliffside, where vendors sell yak cheese alongside ancient bronze statues. In these places, time seems to stand still. Humans are born, grow old, and return to the earth under the silent watch of the eternal snow-capped mountains. They build their homes from mountain stone, warm themselves with dried yak dung, and sing in an ancient tongue. Their resilience is not loud. It is woven into the way children mindlessly play soccer on steep terraced fields, where a normal person, merely by standing still, would feel their chest tighten from the agonizing lack of oxygen. Mysteries of the cliffs, the apartments of the souls. Yet, to truly touch the most mystical chapter of human adaptation in the Nepali highlands, we must trace time backward toward the north to the forgotten land of Upper Mustang. Amidst the crimson, sandstone cliffs eroded by the wind into the shape of demon fingers, a breathtaking sight emerges the sky caves. Thousands upon thousands of man-made caves carved directly into the sheer vertical rock face. Towering mid-air like an ancient, nameless apartment complex. Looking up from the valley floor, they resemble the hollow eye sockets of a stone beast staring blankly into reality. Who carved out these empty spaces? 3,000 years ago, an era when humans possessed neither safety ropes nor modern scaffolding. How did they scale those heights? And more importantly, what were they running from? Inside these cold stone hollows, archaeologists have unearthed perfectly preserved ancient mummies, top secret Buddhist manuscripts, and the remnants of family tombs. One theory suggests this was the hiding place of a lost civilization during times of war. Others believe it was the site of the mystical ritual of sky burials, bringing the dead closer to the heavens so their souls could easily find liberation. To this very day, the caves on the Mustang Cliffs remain silent, enduring the fierce storms that sweep through each season. They stand there as the ultimate testament to the human will, to adapt when the earth becomes too perilous or confined. They are willing to pierce the sky itself to carve out a sanctuary. Survival instinct and the wild sanctuary. Leaving behind the biting cold of the eternal snow-capped peaks, our journey takes us lower, descending into the very heart of Nepal, the Kathmandu Valley. Here, the boundary between the mortal realm and the sacred world is so blurred that humans and gods seem to share the same address. Kathmandu is not a city planned by the straight lines of modern rulers. It is a living entity molded by faith across thousands of years. A valley possessing an astonishing density of heritage, where every square meter beneath your feet could be the dwelling place of a legend. Welcome to Durbar Square, a place where time itself seems suspended within the centuries-old cedar wood. Amidst the red brick palaces steeped in history, faith takes on flesh and blood through the presence of the Kumari, the world's sole living goddess. A young girl yet to reach puberty, subjected to grueling tests of courage to become the earthly incarnation of the supreme goddess. She sits there motionless upon her throne, bearing the hopes of an entire nation. But what happens when the first drop of blood of womanhood flows? The divine spirit departs and a mortal girl must step down from her pedestal, relearning how to walk with her own feet on the dusty earth of the human world. A destiny both glorious and profoundly solitary at the very heart of this ancient city. Stepping beyond the quiet walls of the palace, Kathmandu thrusts the traveller headlong into a cold wave of utter chaos. The city moves to a frantic, unpredictable rhythm all its own. The resonant chime of ancient temple bells bleeds into the blare of honking horns. A dense haze of incense smoke fuses with the pungent fumes of diesel exhaust. Tangles of electrical wires span the narrow streets like a digital cobweb, bridging 15th century brick houses to the high-speed signals of the modern era. On the very street corners where ancestors traded salt for yak butter vendors now hawk prayer flags. Kathmandu is like a beautiful traffic collision between the past and the future, a place where by some miraculous logic sheer chaos functions in absolute harmony. The bond between Kathmandu and chaos is far more than surface-level urban noise. Beneath roofs of terracotta tile, the city routinely confronts harsh realities. Scheduled rolling blackouts plunge the old quarters back into the glow of candlelight and oil lamps, suddenly stripping away the modern realm to reveal the quiet solitude of centuries past, if only for a few hours. Beneath that mantle of religious tranquility lies a young democracy, fragile and volatile. The fires kindled by youth protests in the streets serve as a stark reminder Kathmandu is not merely home to gods resting upon lotus thrones. Here dwell people of flesh and blood, burning with a fierce desire to forge their own destiny. To find the sole point of balance. Within this chaos, we must journey to the sacred banks of the Bagmati River, home to the Pashupatinath Temple. Here the smoke of cremation fires has never ceased to rise by day or by night. For the Hindus of Nepal, death is not a dark tragedy to be hidden away. It unfolds openly, naturally, and peacefully beside the flowing waters of the holy river. Sacred fire consumes the flesh while ashes merge with the stream, liberating the soul from the agonizing cycle of rebirth. On this bank, a family sheds tears of farewell. On the other, children splash innocently in the water, while ash-smearing sadhu ascetics sit in deep meditation. Life and death do not contend here, they dance together upon the very same river. As night falls, the chaos of Kathmandu settles. Beneath the mystical eyes painted upon the great Bhutanath stupa eyes that see through all the suffering joy and sorrow of the valley. Thousands of footsteps of the faithful form an endless circle around the base of the stupa, their hands gently turning prayer wheels, releasing millions of sacred chants into the air. All the dust of a noisy day, the blare of traffic, and the fury of political life dissolve before the soft murmur of chanting, merging with the clear chime of wind bells. Such is the Kathmandu Valley. It begins with sacred reverence, unfolds into utter chaos, and ever finds its resolution in spiritual awakening. A resilient metropolis that has endured hundreds of earthquakes and survived the turmoil of changing eras, yet keeps its soul impeccably intact, an immortal symphony of dust and divinity. The song of Mother Earth and the land of awakening. If you believe, Nepal is nothing more than glacial frost and sheer cliff faces, the mountains will guide you down into an entirely different realm. Here, the soaring peaks of the Himalayas surrender to the vast, sweeping plains of the Indian subcontinent, the Terai lowlands. In stark contrast to the suffocating harshness of the highlands, the Terai greets the traveler with the warm, humid breath of tropical forests and the timeless rhythms of traditional agriculture passed down through generations. Here, Mother Earth stirs bountiful and teeming with life. right in the heart of these plains. Chitwan National Park emerges like an untamed wilderness kingdom. This land once witnessed one of the greatest conservation miracles on the planet. The rare one-horned rhinoceros, once driven to the brink of extinction by poaching, has made a resilient comeback, with hundreds of individuals now treading solemnly through the pristine forests. Yet this revival was by no means easily won. It was forged through a silent struggle borne by the indigenous Tharu people and the ranger patrols guarding these woodlands day and night. A tense symbiosis where humanity must learn to share the boundaries of survival with nature's most formidable predators. Moving away from the roaring depths of Chitwan's jungle, the Terai lands open up into a sacred silence, a place toward which millions of hearts have turned for over 2,000 years, the holy sanctuary of Lumbini. Beneath the shade of ancient Bodhi trees, the Maya Devi temple stands, marking the exact site where an infant first cried upon entering the world. The child who would later renounce his throne and royal palaces to become Gautama Buddha. Beside the ancient temple, the pillar of Emperor Ashoka has stood tall through centuries, an immortal witness testifying to the historic value of this land of awakening. Here, all dust of the mortal world must halt, yielding to absolute tranquility. Present-day Lumbini is far more than a historical landmark. It is a living map of global faith. From the Vietnamese pagoda, with its familiar curved tiled roofs, to the radiant golden stupas of Myanmar and the intricate carvings of Thailand, all converge upon this land, creating a multicultural tapestry bound by a shared devotion to peace. As twilight falls, bathing the eternal flame of peace in crimson, the resonant chime of temple bells merges with the warm, deep chanting of monks from every corner of the globe. Amidst the wind-swept Terai plains, Lumbini reminds us of a simple truth. Towering mountains may conquer humanity with their bitter cold and harshness. But it is this flat, gentle land that nurtures a philosophy capable of warming and transforming millions of souls. The awakening of a new generation. Look upon the surging streets of Kathmandu, where the fires of outrage blazed against the domes of the Parliament building during recent protests. This is no longer a resigned Nepal quietly hiding behind ancient dogmas. This is the raw, unyielding awakening of a young generation determined to shatter the chains of stagnation. Driven to the wall by suffocating bans and digital isolation enforced by the government, Nepal's Gen Z turned the internet into their most formidable weapon of resistance. They wield no swords of the legendary Gurkha warriors. Instead, they harness social media and global pop culture to connect, mobilize, and demand a transparent society. Never has the contrast been so stark on one side, an aging conservative leadership. On the other, tech-savvy minds yearning for freedom. The youth of Nepal rise not to tear their country down, but to reclaim the right to shape their own future right here upon their native soil. This awakening extends far beyond shouting chants across public squares. It is quietly redefining the identity of South Asia's oldest nation. For decades, the tragedy of Nepal has been the constant drain of its youthful blood forced abroad as migrant labor simply to sustain the economy back home. Today, however, a new generation is striving to reverse that tide. They refuse to wander far from home merely to survive. Armed with digital startups, tech-driven environmental conservation initiatives, and an unyielding drive to safeguard the water tower of Asia from melting away under climate change, these young minds are proving that their patriotism is defined by concrete action. Nepal remains a fragile democracy, a young, delicate nation still learning to stand firm within the towering shadow of giants. And it is the youth who are stepping forward as the ultimate answer. As the tear gas clears and the roar of urban traffic yields to the golden sunrise, glimmering upon the peak of Mount Everest, we behold a Nepal transforming from its very roots. They cherish their past and guard their faith, yet refuse to remain imprisoned within ancient cages. Beneath the eternal snow-capped peaks, the voice of a new generation has finally broken the silence. A resounding declaration that Nepal is far more than a land of frozen heritage, trapped in time. It is a living, breathing realm being reborn, fierce, resilient, and fearlessly reaching toward the horizon of tomorrow. Nepal, South Asia's oldest nation, a land that has never bowed to the heel of a foreign conqueror. Beneath the shadow of eternal snow-capped peaks, this country endures, adapts, and with unyielding resilience continues to write its next chapter. A world of profound paradoxes, where life and death, ancient heritage, and modern pulse, deep stillness and fierce indignation intertwine as one. Yet the echoes from these soaring peaks softly remind us, even in the places that seem utterly impossible, humanity always finds a way forward. Nepal is not a land to be conquered. It is nature's ultimate test of human will and faith, a realm of profound paradoxes where life and death dance together along the same riverbank, and where the frenzy of modern urban life coexists within a single breath alongside the primal stillness of the soul. The only nation on earth to reject the conventional square shape of a flag, much like how its people refuse to surrender to the limits of physics and fate. Through the trials of time and violent earthquakes that tore the very ground beneath them, Nepal still stands. Resilient, mystical, unextinguishable. As the cremation fires fade, and the blowing snow once again erases all footprints atop Mount Everest, the echo from this land of the impossible will forever whisper in the ears of wayfarers that where the earth ends is precisely where humanity finds itself.